Hey everybody, Fingershot Master. I have a little update thingy about my schedule and everything, and how I'll be able to upload things, and plans on how I'm going to do these next walkthroughs, and it's just a bunch of stuff. But first, there's something you want to go over, and that is a little rant I have. It's about 5th generation Pokemon. I'm not ranting about how I think they suck. I think they're awesome. I really, really think they're awesome. I'm really excited. But I'm ranting about other people's opinions on them. Because so many people are just like going, oh, it looks ugly, or oh, that's really uncreative, and oh, this and this. But I'm just going to share my thoughts on this, you know, just my personal feelings. Feel free in the comments to go and, talk about this. I mean, debate with me on this. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But I'm going to put down an annotation that will be a bit back in the video of when the updated thing's coming. Like, because that will be later in the video, so that annotation will just skip you there. So, but first off, I'm going to go over the stars. One Pokemon I dislike, and it's not Gear, and what I think of the legendaries. First off, here is the star. This is off of SurveyNet. By the way, I'll put a link in the description. The Grass Starter. And I really like what they did with him. There's one thing I'm somewhat disappointed with him. I really like the design they kind of chose for him. He looks very awesome, like serpentish. I wasn't really expecting it to be like a snake-like creature. Although I do think it should have been Grass Dragon type, which would have been really cool and awesome and new. But still, pure Grass type's perfectly fine. And yeah, so he is awesome, I think. He's not really my favorite out of a bunch just because of his moves and everything, although he still is good. So if you're going to get the game, don't, think me ditching him. Well, not ditching him, but kind of dissing off his move pool, in my opinion. It's not that good. He's a wall starter, and I somewhat don't like those. But, next up is the Fire Starter, M-Boy. Get it? It's a funny pun name. Oh, Nintendo, why did you name him that? But, M-Boy, I really like him, actually. It's just, I'm very disappointed with his typing. He's a firefighting type, again. This is the 3rd generation. We have had firefighting types for starters. Why? But, otherwise, I really like him. I was hoping for him to be a fire ground type, but this is still pretty cool. And I like his whole design. He looks kind of like a sumo warrior samurai thingy, and I think that's really cool and everything. I like his fire main, so on and so on. Next up, the Water Starter, pure water type. Its final phase kind of reminds me of Swampert in a way. It reminded me of something else for a bit, but I can't exactly remember. But it looks cool. It looks like a pack leader-ish thing, and I really like that. It looks like it'd be rare. It looks like it could be a starter, and I really just like the whole development from this cute little guy over to this noble beast. He'd probably, I was debating whether he'd be my starter or not, but meh. I don't know. It's just a few other water types I want to use. Well, another water type. Now, this is the Pokemon I dislike. Look at it. Its name is Morobariru. I don't know if that's like its Japanese name or its English name or something, but look at it. It's a mushroom Pokeball. When have you seen a Pokeball in the wild? Now, I'm not talking about Voltorb and Electrode, because Voltorb and Electrode, it made sense. They didn't look directly like a Pokeball. They just had the same colors conveniently. And that's part of suspension of disbelief. Also, another thing is that a lot of RPGs back then had those little trap enemies. Those enemies you fought with items and then you turned into traps. But otherwise, it's like the Pokeball is a man-made thing. It's like it was created by humans, or was it inspired off of this guy? Maybe it was all along this entire time. You know what? It's hard for me to really explain, but other than Pokemon signs, Pokemon are just signs, really, and Pokeballs themselves. Pokeballs aren't part of nature. Maybe it's man-made. I don't know this Pokemon. But, now then, here's for legendaries, and this is where the big part of it will go on. You can't really see them too well. Bad quality, just go to Cerebi yourself to look at them. Actually, you know what? I'll scroll through them real quickly. Just because I'm nice like that. So, this is kind of like the trio most people call them, although I don't really think they're a trio. But, yeah. Because there's a fourth one, it's just through event. And they're all part fighting type. This is the Runaway. I really like this guy because he's kind of like Greek goddish thing. I really just love his design. He's probably my favorite legendary of this gen. And he's the traditional Runaway. Oh boy. But he only appears in black version. So, what appears in white version? Well, this pissed me off at first, but then again, I think they could execute this right. This is what appears in white version. It's basically the same Pokemon. It looks different, and it's a different typing. Although, I kind of got over that because they're always 100% male, which is nice. But they're, but I can kind of see them as, like, brothers, in a way. You know, like, I think they're the actual trio. Here, well, you've all seen this one. Anybody interested in black and white has seen these two before. Yeah, the two main legendaries. Here's the center one. He looks like he has a log on his head, but, you know, he still looks pretty awesome. Flying ground type. Oh, also the first one of that trio was was the only pure flying type so far. And, yeah, this guy's kind of like the Rayquaza-ish thing. You know, the Giratina, the Rayquaza, the Lugia among the three legendary birds, the Ho among the legendary beasts. You know what I'm talking about. This is why it's not a trio, because this thing's water fighting type, so I'm guessing it's part of those three and its event. Most people just consider it a trio because the event hasn't come out yet. Now, there are two other legendaries I'm missing, but they're all the way at the beginning, so you don't want me to scroll all the way back up there. This thing looks pretty cool. Normal fighting type, normal psychic type, you know. Two different forms. Looks pretty nice. It looks like it's kind of a spiritish thing. I don't know why it's genderless. I think it should just be female, but whatever. And then this guy's kind of like the ultimate legendary, I guess you could say, of the generation. You know, every generation has its like ultimate legendary, Arceus, but I do like how they made no Pokemon stronger than Arceus. I think that makes sense. But he's Bug Steel, and apparently he can change his types depending on his items, but he can't turn into every single type, which is pretty cool. I mean, he's kind of like a robot thingy, and I really like him. And that's the last of the legendaries. So, here is my little complaint. The people complain like, oh, these look really uncreative, and oh, this is just another, it's like, this is just another generation with all these weird looking things that don't look eye appealing. Although, Pokemon are not supposed to be eye appealing. They're supposed, well, I mean, I guess they are, but it makes more sense nature-wise. I mean, think about one thing. Think about all of the Pokemon already made. I mean, this is pretty good for everything they've made. I mean, there's literally now more than 600. I mean, it started out from 150 to 600. 151, actually. But, yeah, just think about that. And tell me these are uncreative. Also, notice, this is the only generation not to contain Zubat. They found a replacement, although it looks kind of strange, but still, it's new. It's, you know, there is literally, not until you get the National Dex, as far as I know. I don't know, because I swore to myself I wouldn't spoil anything. I just know about the legendaries and all the Pokemon. That's it. I don't know anything about the game. But, as far as I know, this is just what I've heard. Nothing from last generations appear until you get the national decks. That really makes sense. I mean, that's a whole wave of new things. They have so many different new creative types. I mean, you gotta give them somewhat credit for it. For titles, it's kind of, maybe they have a few throwbacky things into it. Oh, you know, maybe they do. Maybe that's why they're doing that. I mean, it's a lot more creative than just, you know, making the, it's a lot more creative than just finding another stone to name it after. Another thing is that they changed the traditional, this might tick off some people because it gets rid of the music that's playing, but it comes right back anyways. Instead of doing that annoying doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo when you're about to die, it takes that noise and turns it into a frantic, very situational, catchy beat. That is great. I really love that. There are some legendary things because I have watched people capturing legendaries except for the two main ones. Well, I literally skip to the part where they're about to die. Literally. Just to hear that theme. I mean, I just was so astounded by that first. Also, then there's Team Plasma. I don't know what their motives are going to be. I hope their motives are... I hope they're not, like, trying to change something in the world, like Aqua, Magma, you know, Galactic. Like, their motives were dumb. Like, their motives just didn't make sense, and didn't have depth. Rockets, they were kind of like the Mafia. You know, it's like, you don't mess with them, they just want money, power. So, Team Plasma, they kind of look, you know, royal-ish. So I'm hoping they just kind of want power. You know, just power. So, that's what I'm hoping for. And so, that's just my thoughts. Now, a few announcements. I am going to make a black and white playthrough when it comes out blind. Okay? I'll have everything else done by then. And I'm going to do that game blind. Also, so don't spoil anything. Don't do any of that. Just wait for black and white, and it will all be good. And also I'm gonna do a few other things with take your picks if you want a strategic guide to how to beat every single actually, no, I changed that. What I'm going to do with Monster. Tell me if you think this is a bad or good idea. I'm not going to show beating a monster with every single weapon. Every single weapon style. Instead, while I'm fighting the monster, I'm really going to talk about that, because, like, you guys don't want to see the same boss over and over again, right? So, that's my whole thing with that. I'm getting used to my new schedule, you know, so pretty soon, not in like a couple of days, maybe a week or two, I'll, do the old Dragon Quest marathon, and once that's done, then we should continue on rolling. Thank you for listening to this rant/update, and I will see you guys later.